Yo, gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of the BMX. We have a special guest here. I don't know if we should call him a guest anymore because he just keeps on popping. KG, welcome, my man.
Welcome,
Hey,
How's
what's
how's
KG.
up?
how's things, bro?
What's up? What's up, guys? All good, all good.
Good to have you as usual.
Yeah.
What's up, X-Men?
I'm great. I'm great, guys. Thanks.
Awesome. Zingwe?
All good, my man. All good. We are just having this heated discussion before the show, you know.
Which, of course, will continue after
But
this
but
as well.
we will bring it. We will bring it to the show as
Bring
well
it,
sometime
bring
when
it,
the
bring
time
it,
permits.
bring it.
But anyways, KG, the topic for today is basically about entitlement. So I'll give you like a scenario. I'll paint this very nice picture for you
Paint
guys.
this picture like Van Gogh did.
So like a lot has happened, right? Over the net. So that then prompted us to kind of like have this discussion and really understand like what do we mean by entitlement, right? So for instance, take the Kanye West situation, right?
My
Kanye
goodness.
has a problem with Adidas, right?
Mm.
At the moment, and he feels that he should be included in stuff that Adidas decided not to include him in, right? And so we then analyzed the situation, and then we asked ourselves, when entitlement, okay, well, there's entitlement here, right? And then there's overstepping your boundaries. You are given a platform. It's not your platform. You are given a platform to perform or to create, and you reach certain success with the platform that you're given, and now you start to feel like you are the guy that's running the show. You are the business, right? Almost like the tail is wagging the dog. And this is exactly what we think when we want to enlarge further on entitlement. So what do you think?
Or about that situation.
Yeah.
So, listen, man. I think there's two parts. So the first thing is, what did you sign for, right? So, in business, they will talk about your contractual obligations, right? So in business, they'll tell you that these are your boundaries. This is what you actually brought on board to do, and this is your role, your responsibilities, and anything beyond that is Adidas. Adidas is responsible and accountable, so you are not involved in, right? Then the second part is, yes, you brought all this fan base, you created this culture, these good products, and to other people will say that you are entitled to that kind of seat on the board, because that's what he's fighting for, right?
Yep.
He wants to be part of the board. He wants to be part of, that guy who's actually calling the shots, and he wants Adidas to give him his flowers. But you're dealing with corporate where, hey man, it's all about profit and business.
Okay, quick question.
Yeah.
So why is he boycotting Adidas then if it's not his brand and he did not create Adidas? Adidas was there long before him. So if he feels that he's the one that's like moving the needle, he's the one that's like, like doing everything, right? Why can't he create his own brand and, be his own establishment basically?
Yeah, he knows that will be difficult, man. Creating, it's not impossible, but it's difficult,
Right.
and he's actually boycotting. Like, listen, he doesn't give a fuck about other Adidas brands and all that. What he gives a fuck about is the Yeezus stuff,
His range.
right? His own range, his own product line. That's what he's trying to. That is actually his baby, right? The
Yeah.
rest he doesn't care. And when you're talking about your Yeezus, to everyone, we're only thinking about Kanye. When you're talking about that product line, we're thinking about Kanye. You ask anyone, we know that Kanye, that is your product line. And that's what he's asking for. He's saying that, guys, and for me, I'll be like, if I was in Adidas, I'll be like, yo, be the head of this product line that you brought to us. Run it. You know?
but then like yes, I agree with you. Like you can have that creative control, but what happens when you just want to run everything? Because even Adidas, they still have to set out the rules.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing it doesn't understand that in corporate there's hierarchy, there's all this kind of stuff. And Kanye thinks that no, he's just gonna come and be like, I'm the one who's making the final decisions everywhere. Marketing, supply chain, advertising. I'm the one. I have to make the final decision. And that's the problem. So he actually have to like work with people there to make that happen. But we just speculating, man. We don't know behind closed doors. Maybe he's trying to fight for something big that we are not even aware of.
That's
Yeah. So maybe
possible.
this is something big. Maybe it's boycotting Adidas because of certain reasons and that we're not even aware of. And yeah, but right now we're just saying, speculating.
What does X-Men have to say about that?
Now I'm taking a back seat on this one, and now I'm
Why,
just listening for now. And yeah,
what are your thoughts?
no, I'm just listening for now, guys. And you carry on.
So let me
actually,
switch it up from Kanye,
Yeah,
right?
switch it up, man, girl.
So when I thought about entitlement, now as Brian is speaking about it, and with what KG is saying, to an extent, I agree that it's fair that let him get his flowers. In the same breath, it's difficult to say you are now Adi Dassler himself. And moving on from that, I think us as human beings, we are too clingy to things, generally speaking. When we look at our makeup as to who we are, we have cells that makes us who we are, and those cells keep dying. We have a certain amount of cells within every day that it died and it reformed. Ladies go through their menstruation cycle every month. In a male's testes, things happen there every, I don't know, is it 3 months, and new semen develops and so forth. So at a certain point, things die and they move on. So we tend to be clingy onto things. And yet everything around us is showing us there's different seasons of the year, different times of the day. Not every single day is the same, although there's a day and a night, yes, but every day is different. The spot that the sun will shine on the earth yesterday is different to what will be on today. So when we get to this point of being entitled to being like, no, but like I've done this, so this means that I am owed this. We came on this earth as visitors and as guests, but we want to fight for land and claim this and claim that and all that stuff. Like, no, this is my forefathers' land. Even if it's your forefathers' land, your forefather came and found this land, and there was an ant on that land before that person was on that land. So who are we giving the land to, your forefathers or the ant now? So when we get to this point of being entitled about things, we need to re-look at this thing nicely. We are all here to push the entire human generation forward.
You know what they say, man, girl?
What do they say?
Proximity dilutes some. Proximity to power dilutes some into thinking they willed it. I'll give you an example of this statement that I just made. Take the recent Chelsea unfolding with the manager being released from his duties purely because they were not seeing eye to eye with the owners. So he had a different vision for the club. The owners are new, right, in football. this is a completely different landscape for them. They've never operated within that landscape. So the manager has some pedigree because he's got some success that he can go back to and say, hey, look at what I've done. This is what I've achieved. What have you achieved in football? But then also understand that if you, with your pedigree, are operating on someone's time, this is someone's door. This is not your business. It's someone's business. So you make it difficult for the other person because now you believe that I've done so much for this club for you to come and tell me. But then who's buying, to the point that the guy was literally having a say on who to bring in, right? You cannot play the kids. This is the long-term view now. The kids are not part of my plans. I want the here and now. I want to win. I want to do this. So now that became a problem because now they cannot work with this guy. And a lot of people right now are very disappointed. But then actually, if you take a step back, as much as we love the guy that was on the driving seat, but that's not your vehicle. You are merely a driver. There's an owner of that vehicle. And that owner ultimately has a say on how things go, which then leads to entitlement. Because then you are very close to power. You start to believe that you're the one that's actually running the show. You're the business, right? So it's very easy to actually step into that territory where you think, I'm the guy. I'm the reason why this business is successful, right? So things like that. And this can also catapult in relationships as well, where like you've been with someone for so long and maybe you started with a person while they did not have much and now they have a lot. And for some odd reasons, the relationship does not work out. And that person says, no ways, I've been behind you the whole time. You can't leave me. They feel entitled, right? So this is what entitlement actually entails. And sometimes like it's very difficult to differentiate whether you are in that zone of entitlement or you are within your right.
All right, guys. So just speaking about business, so I just have a question. You as a businessman, you own, let's say, some corporation or Adidas, or you in the same, or you have this idea and you go to a particular brand and you tell them about it, but everything, your heart, your soul, and everything went in because it's your baby, right? What would you do if you were in Kanye West's shoes? What would you do?
Understand the contract that I have with Adidas first, honor that contract.
Are we just speaking, are we just answering based on because we're not in that situation, or based on,
I mean, like,
a point of view? Because remember, we outsiders, you've just mentioned that we don't know what happened, behind the scenes. You see these, and I know that we've read it, we've seen it as well on YouTube and so on. Big corporations has been making a lot of money off the industry, and I'm speaking about music, I'm speaking about
100%.
sports as well, right? So these guys, at first, doors were closed in their faces, right? And now when they started doing their own thing and they see now, the doors are being shut. So what do we have to do? We'll stand outside, we'll be outside, and we'll pop our own stuff. We'll do our own thing, create our own culture, right? And then all of a sudden, the corporation sees, oh, there's a piece of the pie, or I can get that whole pie, right? So that's what they do, or that's what they did. And that is why there's a lot of artists that are now voicing or using their voices and using their social media and everything that they have because of that. I mean, like, this is probably just the crux of it. We don't know. There's a lot of things. We look at we look at the champagnes, we look at all those things. You see it in rap videos, rap videos and everything like that, or whatever music videos. It's popping.
I agree, X. It's their prerogative, first of all, right? But you are also not you are not looking at both sides equally here, because before that artist popped, someone had to take a risk. Someone is going to say, I will give you this much for you to start. Someone gave them a head start. And then because okay, KG, let's talk about it from purely an investment perspective. If you invest a certain percent on something, you expect a return, right?
Yeah.
Why is it different with artists? So an artist in this case is an investment, right? They are the asset for the investor. So the investor says, I'm going to sign you on a deal of 1 million. And then the investor makes 75 million. And then the artist is crying foul for a risk that was assumed by an investor. Now that you've seen how much money I've made as an investor, I've paid you, right? And you have to honor your contract. If I've signed you for 5 years or for 5 albums, deliver those 5 albums.
But is Kanye West and Adidas the only
they just it's just a pure example.
No, yeah, it's just an example. But I'm just speaking about, I'm merely, because if you heard what I said, like these corporations, they've been making money
off these guys,
talented guys.
Okay, so
right?
when Kanye left Nike and went to Adidas, he needed that platform, right? He did not leave Nike and then said, okay, I'm big enough to actually create my own stuff on my own.
But if you believe in yourself, I think like I won't say, I'm not going to use the word is entitled to. He's entitled. But if you believe in yourself, you will then you'll use your voice, you'll use your voice. So, to, let's say, to expose or to make for people to see.
Can I ask, can we take a step back just so that I understand it, if I'm on the same page here? So we're saying that the corporations exploit to some extent, right? We'll put it in quote unquote, artists and sportsmen as well, right? To get into that particular field or in that market. But can it not be said vice versa? Because the artist
is exploiting
the industry, because he or she could not develop their own sneakers. Look at Roger Federer. Roger Federer at first was sponsored by Nike. He then moved over to Uniqlo. Now he's having another Nike thing that's been released on his own. But he had to go from there to now start his own thing here. So at that point, his deal also may have been, well, we don't know what the terms there, but there's benefits from both sides. I don't think anybody had signed a deal and that nobody benefited from the deal in this time. I'm not talking about
I was gonna ask you something personal, but I'll leave it there. We'll go off.
The question that I would have to ask is, let us say the artist that you signed for that $1 million, right? For a potential, right? Because we are investing in potential here. So we're saying that, okay, I could potentially make 3:1 or even more, right? And you actually don't, you lose, the artist does not sell. So what then? Do we hold that person accountable? If Kanye West does not sell the sneakers of Adidas, but he's been given this big budget, do we then go back to him, or does he even hold himself accountable and say, I've messed up your budget, I'm going to repay it?
But you don't know, we don't know the contract.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know the contract, because for such a big project, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of things that goes into it. Remember, bear in mind that so I lost my train of thought.
Can I bring it back? Yeah. Can I bring it back? Sorry, KG.
Okay, cool.
Can I just go back to what I was asking, right? So here is KG, right? He's a superstar in basketball. KG is a basketball player. He has a contract with the NBA. That's that's his bread and milk is coming from that NBA salary. Now KG realizes I am better than just the NBA salary. I can now tap into the sneaker market, and I make a deal with Reebok because Nike had also offered me a deal. I make a deal with Reebok.
Yes.
Isn't that also exploiting the brand to some extent? Because you're not a sneaker guy. You may be a sneaker enthusiast, but you're not a sneaker designer. You're an NBA player.
But how are you exploiting the brand? How are you exploiting it?
You're getting this platform to make a sneaker that you're not making.
Yeah, but you're not exploiting them. They benefiting from that deal also.
Everyone is benefiting, right?
Everyone is
so no one is exploiting. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No one. That's what I'm saying.
Let me,
that's what I'm saying. When you get on, like when you sign a deal and you get on a legal agreement, that's what you sign for.
Yes.
And no one gave you this contract, you signed, then tomorrow they say, no, they change your contract. No, you signed this. No.
Yes.
You signed this contract. This were the terms and conditions, and you read them with your lawyer and you agreed to it. Cool. You're going to get how much? You see that they'll tell you you're going to get 10% of all the sales, or you're going to get 50 million for the deal. If you say you're going to get 50M for the deal for 5 years and the company makes 500 million, don't come back and cry.
Yes.
Okay, because that's what you signed for.
Yes, but again, this is just speculation because we don't know the contracts, right?
Yeah, we don't know what you signed.
So this is what I wanted to say. Remember you spoke about people that changes and, menstruation and all those things, right? I don't know why did you touch on that. You'll have to answer.
I will answer.
But you have to circle back.
But anyway, people also evolve. You've mentioned that as well, right? So at that time, yes, there's a contract in place and whatever it is, right? Okay, let's leave the contract out because we don't know about it. So you as an individual, you talented, you know your worth. You design stuff and then you get people, whoever approaches you and, and they believe in you. And now, because you believe in yourself as well as your work, and you see, no, but my work, it's like, I'm actually undercharging this.
So you're entitled to more.
Not you're entitled to more.
Oh, okay.
You obviously, you have your voice and you speak on that. You say, look, because people evolve, guys. It's the same like a relationship. You'll find out that a honey is attracted to this guy that has money, right?
Poet.
Has money and everything, and in essence she's probably just attracted to, let's say, the nice things first, right? And then things happen, the guy doesn't have, so he loses the money or deals, COVID happens or whatever, right? And he no longer has that money. And now you'll find different types of women and even guys, let's not say women only, but anyway, you'll find a woman that would stick with the guy and say, look, this guy had money, but I was attracted to the money or the nice, the fancy clothes or whatever, right? The big houses. And however, he doesn't have this money. He's a pretty cool guy and I'm going to stick with him, right? You get that type of women, and as well as men. And then you get those who would, obviously, when you lose everything, they would also leave because you're no longer relevant, right? And that's where it comes in, evolving. People evolve. So people are allowed to evolve. People are allowed to speak up and say, look, this cost me 10,000 Rand, or I've invested 10,000 Rand in this. I can get more, I'm allowed to speak about it. Why if certain people speaks about these things and then we all against them, or we say we all mention it, we think it's some type of entitlement. Maybe it's just the way that the person is doing it.
Yeah,
but maybe they have the voice. There's a reason why they do it. they're doing it because they feel that he feels that it's his baby, and he needs more out of it.
Yeah, but if you speak on something and you're open and you're outspoken and all those kind of stuff, that doesn't mean you deserve whatever you're trying to, get, or you're entitled to that. Because as I said earlier on, we don't know what kind of deal he signed. What if on the deal they're like, listen, this is how much you're gonna get for this period of time. After that, and maybe part of the deal, he didn't really, they didn't specify that he will have some, own the product line. You'll just get monetary value from it. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. We don't know what he signed for. So we're just going to speculate. We do not know. But if he signed for, no, going to give you 100 million for 3 years, but we're going to own this product line. You don't own shit from here. Why are you going to come back and cry? Because that's what you signed for.
Let's speak about, maybe let's touch on this. Work.
Mm-hmm.
You work, your performance, everything, right? And then you have your discussion, right? And your discussion based on how you performed, you can either dispute it or you can stick to what was given to you, right, in terms of performance, right? But now when you dispute it, have you disputed something before? Have you disputed it?
Yeah, something
you've disputed
in life, yeah.
Right. Why did you dispute it?
Well, is it fair to first say that you get incentivized at your employer's discretion?
Yeah.
So
that's what
let's understand that premise first, right?
Right.
You own this platform.
Okay.
You hire someone, right? You generate revenue, right? And then you want to reward people. What the brand, the platform made versus what that person that you've just rewarded feels they deserve to be getting, is entirely up to you, not to them. Because you are the reason they exist, not the other way around.
If you say exist, in which way? Because
in this case, in this business, we're talking about this business, the fact that they have the latitude to even say, I deserve a 5%, right? It means that 5% is coming from what you created, you yourself.
Dude, when a business can replace, they know that they can replace you.
Yes.
They wouldn't give a fuck, bro. I'm telling you.
And this is where I feel like entitlement comes into play, right? Because first of all, there is nothing stopping us. If we do believe that we deserve more, there is nothing stopping us from actually going out there and creating what we believe would be suitable for us.
And the market will determine your value.
Yes.
When you go out, if Kanye say, no, I'm done with Adidas, I want to start my own product line, I'm doing my own thing, then the market will say that this is how much it's worth.
Yes.
Because if the price is gonna be like, no, I'm Kanye, I'm gonna charge 50% more than what Yeezy was charging, because I'm Kanye, I'm doing my own thing, I have my fan base. If his fan base says, okay, we fuck with you, we're gonna buy that, cool, that's his market, right? It's worth that much. But if they don't buy it, they'll be like, no, Kanye, we know you big, but you're not worth this.
But I also think there needs to be a level of understanding, and I'm talking about the industry itself. For me, because when I speak, I'm just speaking on maybe grass level. I'm not speaking, going down to the roots, because I don't know about it. But I'm just speaking according to what I've seen. But if I have a better understanding about the let's say the industry and how the contract works, what goes into it, the material, the work, the design, and everything, I think then I'd have a better conversation.
You know how I see this, Maurice, X, and KG. The people that we are analyzing here, right? Their mouths are writing checks. Their actions aren't cashing.
Top Gun.
So you for instance, let's go back to an artist, right? An artist will tell you how much money they have made looking at the numbers, looking at everything, right? But what they won't tell you is how much money was spent on them to make that money.
Yeah.
Those music videos were not for free, right? So you need to understand all of those things. So when they actually go on these platforms, and I actually want to move to platforms now, because also platforms are very important. We need to talk about these platforms. When they go to these platforms and then they start to air out these people, they omit some information, right? They're not balanced in those conversations. So they always appear as victims, right? Okay, we were not there when you were signing that contract, right? When those zeros were like a lot more than what you used to. We were not there. But now you want to involve us, right? When you feel like you deserve more.
Yeah.
And you cannot tell me, I can tell you right now, you cannot tell me right now that you'd start a business, right? And within that business, you employ someone and that someone contributes. Keyword, contributes. You do not make that business, you contribute towards the business, not make the business. So you contribute towards the growth of that business. And then now you feel like, come, let's talk. Hey, we've got a 5-year deal. We've got a 5-year deal. Eden Hazard, when Chelsea sold him to Real Madrid, there's a clause there that says, if this guy wins a Champions League, you will pay us 30 million, right? Guess what? He didn't kick a single ball, but he won the Champions League. And Real Madrid had to cough 30 million to Chelsea.
Those are legal agreements. You're obligated.
It's a contract.
But there's let's say, in terms of contract, in terms of the business as a whole, there's loopholes where the corporations will find loopholes against you, right? And so you would also find loopholes against the corporation.
So in the
It's
business
almost
terminology,
like-
those
No,
loopholes
but-
are seen as opportunity.
But I don't think corporations will really find loopholes, because at the end of the day, you sign a contract that they'll give you a week or whatever timeline or time period you need to go through it with your lawyer. Corporations are not saying, dude, take this contract, don't contact any lawyer, just read it yourself, sign it and
Obviously
send it back.
you won't, but there are loopholes in
It's fine, but it's not like
there's no firewall there that
But
says
they didn't hide- did
no
they hide-
penetration will go through
But
here.
did they hide anything from you?
They don't.
Exactly. Why is it a problem? Why is there a loophole?
They probably don't.
No, they don't, because the
We can't
contract
speak
is
for all
there.
corporations. We
Remember,
can't.
listen, man. These people are smart, right? These corporate guys, these business guys are smart. They'll give you a contract and they'll be like, we gave X a contract for this long, right? To go through it with his lawyer. And some of them, they'll be like, we can provide you a lawyer if you don't have one. Right? They'll even ask you, if you use your own lawyer, they'll be like, did you have a lawyer? Did the lawyer go through everything? Then you say yes, because later on, they don't want you to go in court and be like, no, they didn't provide me with a lawyer or all those kind of stuff. They'll say, we'll provide you with the lawyer, or you can use your own lawyer. Go through the contract. If you're not happy with anything, then you go back to them. I'm not happy with this clause. If you're happy with everything, then the signature shows that, well, you read everything and you're happy, right? Later on, you can't come back crying and be like, no, this is a big corporate. I'm sure they understood what's... No, it's not their problem.
As much as you're saying you'll find there's a contract or whatever. Yes, the contract is there, right?
Yeah.
But the people behind that in the boardrooms also don't understand the contract. In many cases, you'll find out that the people in the boardrooms messes up so much that the corporation has that it costs the corporation, forgetting that there was a contract in place. If you get what I'm saying, get what I'm saying, and we can take this offline.
But even in that scenario, those people will be held accountable, though.
Yeah,
Not
all the time. But we'll take it.
No,
offline.
But cool. Even if they don't, but that's the corporation. Who cares? They can do whatever we're doing. Guys. We're speaking about the other guy, the second part. We don't care about what corporations do. They're too big. If they mess up, it's their own problem.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying. But we're talking about someone who doesn't have power, who doesn't have that kind of influence and resources like corporations, right? Then they also are given that opportunity to go through all this kind of stuff. That's what I'm saying. If a record label brings a 360 deal, right? You are new in the game, right? They say, this is a contract. No, you see everything. They say, no, album sales, we're taking 50%. Bookings, we're taking 50%. Everything, 50%. You go through it, you are happy. Then when you are popping, you start complaining. Why?
Exactly.
But that is why
we start to look at these record labels as they're bad
they're
guys.
Evil, they're bad guys and this and that.
But they're also taking people from like positions or places of destitute. They putting them into riches, right? We don't want to talk about that. Okay, we took you from point A to point B. And because now you feel like I can get myself to point Z. And now like we must look at this guy that gave you the head start as the bad guy. That is the point that I refuse.
But it has been happening in hip hop. You know that
it happens across every field. No, but, not just hip hop.
Yes.
Even in our normal professions, where you start and you feel like, okay, right now I deserve this much, right? Anywhere in football, it exists everywhere, just about everywhere. It's just how business works. Unfortunately, someone is taking a risk. If you are fresh from university and someone says, I'm gonna take a chance on you, right? You don't have the experience. I will give you the platform to express yourself, right? And you will grow within this platform that I've created for you. And should you one day wake up and feel like I'm big enough for this place now, it's always important for you to step out of that place, right? Go elsewhere where you have some form of consensus, where you both can come together and say, yeah, I agree with you. Short of that happening, you have no right to demand or to be entitled to anything, because you have a choice, and that choice is walk away.
So are you so we understand that you're not entitled to anything, but are we saying that it's also wrong for you to speak up?
It depends. I mean, if we're talking about the mannerism in which it's done, like, for instance, you do not go online and talk about matters that are supposed to be discussed privately. That is not right, because there's something called convenience. If you're signing a contract, please include us. Why don't you include us? Because then when you're fighting your battles, only then you include us. But when you are eating, you do not include us. When you are signing that deal, right, and everything that pertains to it, also invite us and say, hey, look, right, okay, we'll understand that's how you conduct your business. But do not include us when you're fighting fires. But when it's all good, you are silent. You are eating.
Maurice, what do you have to say? You've heard.
Yeah, I've heard a lot that's been said. I just want to know about how Roman Abramovich operates.
Oh my God.
I remember when you were still the owner of Chelsea, because I recently found out he's no longer the owner.
He's not.
So when Mourinho was the coach and they won the Champions League, and the following season they lost, he's out.
Yes.
So at that point, does he have a
Carlo
leg to stand
Ancelotti
on?
won the Premier League and the FA Cup, and he lost a few games. Out.
Yeah.
Di Matteo won the Champions League, a few games. Out.
Yeah.
So, like, is there some entitlement that or is there a point where, like, there has to be that lenience towards some of these guys? You know, where the opposite now needs to be put in place. So let's say, for example, this coach had won, like, you know, consecutive back-to-back 6 titles, big titles, and the next one they lose, and the rule is you lose, you out.
Yes.
Does there have to be, should there be that lenience? I think that's maybe where I think this whole discussion is getting to, right? To say, does the person deserve that extra shot or deserve that extra bonus for the amount of work that they've put in? Because yes, the contract says you'll be receiving 100 million. But now we've brought in 1 trillion, guys. Like the forecast wasn't even close to that. So at that point, is there an opportunity for renegotiation? Is there a leg to stand on to say, you know what, let's table this thing again and let's work on it and let's see what we can come up with?
I guess it depends on like what your approach is as like a particular owner. In Abramovich's case, like his business was built from the get-go, from the onset. It was built around, I want success. Short of you bringing me that success, I will bring someone new that's going to bring me that success. And I will be backed by the data. If the data is telling me that you're no longer bringing that success. And if you look at, for instance, Mourinho, who was loved by the fans because the fans were so aggrieved when Abramovich got rid of Mourinho.
Yeah.
But there were also underlying issues that would have resulted in that dismissal. Like players were not happy with him, right? He had lost players. And like his second tenure, there's a time that he had an issue with Eden Hazard, right? Because Eden Hazard kept on getting injured a lot, like on the pitch. So like the doctor would come every now and then. So he felt like that can't happen, right? And like his best player basically was like, well, okay, cool, then I'm not gonna play, right? So in that situation, what do you do? Like if like the puzzles don't fit, they don't match. As Abramovich, you are loyal to the business. You are not here to nurse certain personalities. You are here to run a business. The business must prevail. The business is not made up of people, just people, right? Yes, it is made up of people, but then there is a mission and the vision of the business, and that mission and vision must be independent of people. And when I say people, I don't mean like people, it must be operated by robots. I mean, there must not be KG. Even if KG is messing up, we must be loyal to KG. And now KG, because KG has brought this success, and KG is no longer serving the business, but because KG has done things in the past, that is when now you allow a wound to fester. If KG is contaminated, KG must be removed.
Yeah.
All right, no, those are valid points, but then I think the same should then be said also for the corporations, because if you're asking someone to bring in success and they do this tenfold, hundredfold, thousandfold, millionfold, don't they deserve something beyond whatever it is that they initially then signed?
But it's upon the discretion of the corporation.
It definitely is.
So if they say that in the boardroom, they're like, X, they're discussing you in the boardroom, they are an executive, and they're like, this guy did so well, he brought us this business, we made 200 million. And they can talk about him and be like, no, he deserves a bonus of like 20 million. It's up to them. Or they can be like, well, we can bring a success, but hey, we're already paying you, so you're not getting anything.
You see, my problem. Sorry, Zingwe. My problem, right, is when there is no balance, because the amount of time you putting in is the amount of time I'm putting in. Yes, there's the whole brand that's backing you, but the decision again is coming from a person. Is not coming from a brand. The brand is spoken on behalf of people.
Yeah.
So the brand guidelines. There are guidelines.
Yeah, they've and who set up those guidelines? The people, right? So now what happens is that the people come in and be like, okay, well, we've made 100 billion. Let's give this person 10 million as an additional amount beyond what their initial contract was, or that is their contract, 10 million, that's it. And the sales start slowing down, they're out. That's not fair.
Okay.
So sorry. Okay. So when I'm looking at this thing right now, I know you guys are gonna be like, that's not the business decision to look at what's fair and what's not fair. It's about business, straight. It's a cold fact, business. But at the onset of everything, when we came here, what did I say as well? We came here, we found everything the way it is. right? There are things that we as humans, we have the responsibility to work together to push things further.
There is no parallel universe where an ant is gonna own land over a human being, if you are
So
taking us there.
you're saying it's not fair, right?
Yeah.
Let me give you this example. Let's say I'm running an asset firm, right? You come and you trading for me, right? You make me 100 million, and you're saying that you deserve 10 million, and I only give you 100 or 1 million, right? You're saying it's not fair, right? Let's switch it. You come, you work for me, you're trading, you lose 100 million. Should I also deduct 10 million from your salary, since you made me lose 100 million?
So there has to be a give and take. There has to be a give and take. And in most cases, what happens in those situations, someone has insurance to cover the losses.
That insurance is still paid. It's being paid for by the business.
Who's
His
paying the
firm.
insurance?
Are you contributing towards his insurance?
That insurance is put in place by the person who's then making the trades on behalf of who is the dedicated trader.
No. You are wrong.
There's no
Insurance of a company and employee is not involved anyway. The premium of the insurance is being paid by me as the owner of the
owner of the
business.
firm.
No, I thought you are saying now you are outsourcing this responsibility to my company to do this.
No, I'm saying that you coming
Even-
and working for me. It doesn't matter you're a company or an individual.
Even still, even if you are a supply chain, he's the one that pays, that gets to pay.
Yes.
You what he's paying you for is your services, right? But then like the risk is assumed by him, and he will pay for the premium for the insurance, not you as the supply chain.
Correct. And that loss, right? I'm saying when you lose 100 million, should I also deduct 10 million, since you're saying it's not fair?
Exactly.
No, I was not answering the question.
Okay.
I was saying something else on the no. That is a different scenario.
How?
That is not the same.
How so?
Because in this case, I have a responsibility and I'm a professional. I need to deliver this particular task.
Yes.
There is a deal that says I need to trade on behalf of this company, and this trades could then result in a loss or a gain.
Yes.
That loss or a gain has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. I am the one who's coming with the expertise or the know-how to do the trade on behalf of you.
Okay, no, that's fine. No, that's fine. No.
So in that case,
yeah.
if I make you 100 million,
Yes.
I am contracted to you as my employer.
Yes.
At the end of the term, if you decide to then give me a bonus of whatever, doesn't have to be 10 million or 100 million.
Yes.
But if I do if I trade and I lose you 100 million, I'm out the door, which means what? I do lose out.
No, listen, we're talking about fairness. You're saying that earlier on, you say that you make a company 100 million and they only give you 1 million.
As
And
opposed to 10.
yes, right? And you're saying that, do you think that's fair? And I switched it. I'm like, if you actually make a company lose 100 million, right? It's a loss. And they're saying that, no, we want 10 million because you lost 100 million.
And on top of that, let's qualify the statement. On your way out, having lost that 100 million, if this guy, which is the firm, decides to say you are liable to pay that 10 million back from that 100, would you agree to that? No. Yes. In all fairness, you also deserve to pay that 10 million from the 100.
That is
Since
why.
you're
That
saying
is
it's
why.
just
as
Guys,
equally as you felt
Guys,
you were
no.
that
in
is
the
why.
right to
That
earn.
is why. That is why there's measures in place for this. Because look, you speaking about more finance, and you're gonna approach him, and he's gonna trade on your behalf, right? Because you're that corporation,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, you employing him to do that, which means you trust him enough to go ahead and trade, right? So basically, if you in the financial business, you need to abide by what's this regulations, the NCA and all those other regulations. There's regulations in place for
Yes.
that. So whatever he does, if he loses it, that's on you, right?
If he
It's
wins,
fair. If he wins, it's still on you because the
Thank
money
you.
comes to you,
yes.
right? So that is why it became so, because that point that you made, if they boot him out, and then if he has to say it doesn't work, it can't work.
It
And
can't work.
I'm talking based on today's reality. It can't work because
So-
he can't be liable
For the same
that.
reason that
And
the 10 million cannot work as well if he doesn't feel like it.
and
Yes.
even with the 100 million, if you see that this person, you cap it, right?
Yes.
As a business, you cap it not to go straight to 100 million. Let's say he loses, I'm just saying 20 million, for instance. Aren't you going to have that discussion with him? Aren't you going to find out with him what's happening or whatever other business models or strategies that needs to be put in place? Where is he lacking? What seems to be the problem?
No, that's fine. We definitely get that. We understand you can improve him, you can training and all those kind of stuff. But what we're talking about is you saying it's unfair
Yes.
because you feel entitled that you made
Yes.
so much for this company, right? And you feel like, based on your feelings, you're like, no, I deserve this much. But when you actually bring losses, no, you don't want to be in those
Why do they
conversations.
say? Why do they
Why?
also? Why do they also say like? Why do they also say like? Someone said I'm a businessman, right? So as much as this is a corporation, right? I'm also a corporation on my own. I'm a brand on my own.
Sure.
So it's like David and Goliath, and that it boils down to me believing in myself and my art as well.
Yeah.
So if I believe in my art, I'm gonna take on the big corporation and speak about my worth.
No, it's fine. You can speak about your worth, but they don't give a fuck. Right?
You see, now
that
that is
what
the
we're
reason
talking
why.
about.
I'll
No,
ask you.
That is what I'm talking about. Now, let me bring it back to what you
But-
guys. So you
okay.
guys are creating scenarios, right? Which is fair, but that is exactly why I'm saying it's not fair at the same time.
Why? Why is
Because
it not
listen
fair?
to this, right? When we got here, right,
Mhm.
we found that in the earth there are minerals, there are resources. Now we're sitting in a crisis because those things are being exploited to way more than what it's supposed to be. The animals that had been walking on this earth, that no longer walks on this earth because of exploitation,
Mhm.
because of the things that we do. So what I'm going to on this one is that I'm not saying that as the corporation, you definitely should be paying. As soon as someone makes 1 rand extra, you need to divide it 1 rand 50-50. No ways. Because of what we said earlier. This corporation exists before, and it took a lot of years for it to get to where it got to now. What I'm saying is that there has to be a balance. There has to be fairness.
Yeah.
And the fairness is from the corporation coming in is obviously a giant. They understand that when they get into a relationship with a smaller entity, there's risks involved. Vice versa, the person getting into the agreement with the corporation, there's a risk involved that I'm going to be making these people more than what they're going to be paying me. But what Brian also said, what did it take to get to this point? So we also need to understand that. What I'm saying that is, in the case of you now making $1 trillion, $10 trillion, and you see 1 million, let's be realistic, guys. None of y'all will think that that's fair.
Listen,
Nah.
Maurice,
Let's be honest.
No, wait,
Let's
Maurice.
be honest.
Wait, Maurice. Like I'll say this, right? I commend you and your plausible deniability. But what you're not understanding is, I understand what you're saying, that okay, 1 trillion and then you get 1 million from that, right? It's at the corporation's discretion,
Which we are not disputing. We are
No.
not saying that it's not at the corporation's discretion.
whether
What we are
it's fair
saying-
or not, because then when we switch the story around, right, and then we say you lose the same, then you don't want to entertain that side. You want to entertain one side.
because the contract, right, at the beginning should be listen, this
I-
is how
Okay, go
love
ahead.
it.
Yeah.
listen, the
Go
contract
ahead.
at the beginning says that this is what your responsibility is. You need to put up this and that and the other.
So you don't think there's a contract for the upside as well that addresses the upside?
I'm coming to that. So the contract on the upside should say then, should you get to a certain percentage beyond what we forecasted? Remember we spoke about the forecasting earlier.
Yes.
We've now surpassed that forecast. At this point, we now need to rework the contract. That's what I said. We need to relook at the contract, not rework, relook at the contract.
So can we rework the contract then when it's the other way around? When now you've lost the money, right? And the only thing you're getting is the boot. Can they say now, let's rework the contract and say, we are getting the boot and also you are liable to pay for this?
Why?
Why not? Because we are renegotiating for the upside. Why can't we renegotiate for the downside?
Since they
at the beginning, you had made the decision to take the risk on this person, to invest in this person, and that investment has a possibility of it failing and it succeeding.
So can I tell you something? I'm sure you've watched Billions, right?
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
There was this meeting between Taylor and X, right? So Taylor is entitled to a certain percentage, right, of bonus if you make so much. But then she felt like I had made so much
more.
We need to scrap that 25% now and look at another percentage that you can assign. And X says, well, then you might as well just open your own shop.
Yes.
Because I'm giving you this, right?
And this is what you signed for.
So in that case now, like if especially like a well-run company will have a percentage in place and they will say, if KG does so much for us, this is the percentage that he's entitled to, that he will receive. So KG then signs and agrees to this, right? If he's got limited vision or imagination, he can't see himself surpassing this number, then he's going to agree to that 20%. Now, if you've now made so much, right, but then your entitlement is still that 20%, whose fault is it?
That's your own fault.
That's your own fault, the person that was negotiating. So he speaks about believing in yourself. So if you truly believe in yourself, then you're not going to relent. You're going to say, no, I believe I should be getting a bigger percentage than this one. Which, by the way, you also have the choice to walk away from the negotiation table and go elsewhere where you can be given that.
Correct. So tomorrow you can't come back and complain.
Tomorrow you can't come back
and say that, no, I deserve this. I believe I'm worth this much. No, you had that chance.
Yes.
And they gave you that opportunity to be like, this is how much we're going to give you. This is the percentage and you're happy. Right?
So when Russ decides to go independent, right, and go through the struggles of an independent person without the backing of a record label, right, and really strive, right, and endure. And then the other people say, well, I want the ease of everyone taking care of the operations, the administrative work, everything, right? But then I will lose my creative freedom. I won't have ownership to my stuff. Then that's the price that you have to pay. Unfortunately, you can't later on and say, they don't want to release me. I want my independence. Yes, you will have your independence. But right now, you signed a deal that says release 10 good albums.
Yeah.
Release those albums, honor the contract, or otherwise go independent from the get-go, and then you can avoid that hurdle. That's what we say.
So if you really, fairness in business doesn't work, man.
Yes.
You will never run a successful business.
Exactly.
Because when you have losses, expenses, and all those kind of stuff, where is fairness? If I have a lot of losses, expenses, then I should come to you and be like, you know what, Maurice, since we're living in a world where we are being fair, I should take pay cut. You should take pay cut. We should actually take 50% from your salary because we're not doing very well. There's so many losses and all those kind of stuff. Please be fair and give us 50% of your salary.
So there was someone.
What do you want to say?
There was actually someone who actually put up a portion of their own funds as collateral. So to come to your guys' point about should the deal go sour, what then happens? That person put collateral up.
Because they volunteered. It's not like they were forced.
So that is the whole thing
right?
there, what we're saying, guys. In terms of contract
he said earlier on, is based on the discretion of the corporation.
It is.
To say that they're going to give you a bonus of 10 million.
Yes.
Not that you deserve it. You don't deserve it.
So coming back to this. Why do you say you don't deserve it?
You say you saying you don't deserve it. Again, I
Yes.
bring you back to the point. If you believe in yourself and you believe you deserve it, you can then approach the corporation again.
Cool.
Again, it's a story of David and Goliath,
No,
my
but
man.
cool.
Listen, it's
Yeah.
a story of David and Goliath. We know what happened to Goliath.
It's
You
fine.
understand?
It's fine.
So we can't say that it's not possible.
We didn't say it's
by-
not possible.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. If you go up against a corporation or whatever that you feel that is not doing justice, not only to you, but to other people as well, and you have that voice, you can take them on.
It's fine. If that corporation says that, you know what, X, you stood up and we understand you now as a board and we agreed that we're going to give you a raise of 30%. You deserve this, right? All good. However, if the corporation says, no, you don't think you deserve this much, you only deserve 5%. Well, that's also good because that's what they think.
What if I let's say the corporation just as this, you working up, you against this big corporation, and I have friends, business partners as well as an individual, as a brand. And just as it's happening now, where my voice is opening your eyes as well, or also giving you a voice where you say, nah, we're no longer going to support that corporation. Because with us supporting that corporation, right, we've built the corporation. It doesn't necessarily have to mean
we've
let's
contributed.
We contributed.
Yes.
Even if you, whatever, you contributed to that. And you see that whatever they stand for, the corporation stands for, I'm not up against it. And then the friends, you'll also say, no, I'm also not up. So what happens to that corporation? Because remember, you'll also have followers. Yeah. It's the same. It's the same. So, as you said, business is a dirty game.
So my question then, X, would be, instead of you destroying that corporation, why can't you just build something that will
But corporations has also destroyed people. Corporations has destroyed people as well. So just coming back to his point, there's two sides. A flip side, both sides. As much as a corporation, you're destroying the corporation with whatever media and everything, and you can start on your own. There are corporations that has destroyed people as well.
But if you are in the business of destroying people, you will soon be out of it yourself.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, how big you are, but if you are in the business of destroying people, you'll soon
eventually
be out
you're digging your own grave.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
whether you're a corporation, you will be out yourself.
Yeah.
Your time will come. I have a question for you, and I want you to answer it with fairness, right? Or from a fairness perspective. Maurice, you've hired a domestic worker, right? And inflation is at its all-time high. You've got kids, right? You're paying school fees. Now you've got a challenge. Fuel prices are high. Inflation is high. Now your affordability has been reduced. You can no longer afford the domestic worker, and the domestic worker feels like I've raised your kids for 15 years, but it is at that crucial moment where now things are not going very well for you, right? From a financial aspect, it's either you sink everyone or at least you save your skin, right? Which is to lay off the domestic worker and then try and do some of the stuff yourself. The domestic worker says, but say, I've been with you for all these years. How am I going to feed my family? And you understand that you are the reason why this person and their family can have food at night. But you have to make that tough decision, or otherwise all of you will soon.
It's a no-brainer.
What decision do you make?
I'll have to let the lady go.
That's the business. That's the corporations. That's what the corporations.
It's not the same.
It is.
I'll
give you a perfect example.
It's not the same. I'm not even gonna wait for that example, but I'll listen to it. But it's not the same.
That very same decision, because I said fairness. The domestic worker feels like it's not fair.
It's also not fair on me. I'm also suffering.
Yes. So now let's go back. Let me give you this example. We've all seen this, right? When the pandemic hit hard, we all went into lockdown, right? Then we were not going to stadiums where football clubs or sporting events make money, right? So no one was going to the stadium. So meaning that clubs lost a lot of revenue. So they said players must cut their salaries, right? And players refused, and they were within their right. Nobody got fired because they refused to cut their salaries in football, right? They said, if you can help us, but players refused to cut their salaries, right? During that time. So clubs had to dig deep into their pockets and fund, because they have what? A contractual obligation to fulfill. Now, if you are telling me that that is fair on the football club, that can potentially get themselves in a mess of breaking the financial fair play, because you have to balance your books. If your books are not balanced, then it's a problem. So it means that you could be sanctioned, right, from a regulatory perspective. So all of those things, those people that were receiving salaries were not thinking about that. They were thinking about their salaries. So why is it different when corporations are doing the same?
Can I ask you? I'm not going to answer that question because I told you that example you're making is nothing to do with this thing. Why do you have to pay for fuel?
Why? Because I need to travel.
But why do you have to pay for it? Whose fuel is it? There's fuel we found here.
Yeah.
So why must you pay for fuel?
Well, it belongs to the corporation who invested in resources,
Yes,
to ensure that they invest money, whatever the resources, to drill, to actually take out that fuel, refine it with different kind of skills, and it's their money, their resources,
and
the
put it in the
risk they
market.
Where
take
did this
until
resources?
this
Which
fuel
resources?
is ready for you to consume. Then they sell it to you
Which
to make their money
resources?
back.
Which resources? Ones that was also found here, right?
Yeah.
So-
some you can find, some they invented them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So point is, we came here, we found things.
Yeah.
We are now paying for these things
Yeah.
that cost nothing when they were before anyone founded them, right?
Yeah.
Now what happens is that people now come up with this whole blindsiding type of tactics to let it be seen as if there's a whole complicated story about life in general.
Yeah.
This is a simple thing. You
So,
let people work
yeah.
2 hours, each and every living soul.
Yeah.
And that way there's a balance. The amount of time people work, the amount of
yeah.
people relax and all that stuff. So when you talk about COVID, inflation, cost of living, all those things, nobody has to suffer. That is the point that I'm raising about this whole thing. Because there's an imbalance in society. There's a corporation that is pulling in trillions and trillions of dollars. And on the other side, there is someone that's below zero, far below zero. Why is there such a huge imbalance?
So let me tell you, you definitely, what you're explaining and what you've been, advocating thus far, you definitely believe in socialism.
Yeah.
And that is good. No, for real, that is good on paper, but doesn't work.
It does not work.
It's good on paper, right? They'll lay it out for you with all the nice things and be like, this is what we can do. We'll, eradicate poverty around the world. All those nice things. Doesn't work.
Yes, 100% I agree.
Yeah, that's
There
what you
is,
think.
Okay.
there is, check, let me tell you something, Maurice. I'm not sure whether it was a movie that I was watching or what, but there are people that are protesting, right? They are going to the people in Wall Street, right? Saying that you are the reasons why we are poor, because your guys make money, blah, blah, blah.
Occupy
blah, blah,
Wall
blah,
Street.
blah, blah.
There's actually a real life that happened in 08, but yeah.
So this person in Wall
08.
Street says,
Yeah, in 08, after the crash.
Yeah.
Occupy Wall Street and all that. But yeah.
so the question that this person is asking is, okay, if we cease to exist, do you ultimately become rich? Let us say all of us cease to exist, because you are saying that with a problem. Do you then become rich?
No, and that's the point. We should not all be rich and we should not all be poor.
The person then says, no. Then he says, well, then you're protesting at the wrong place. Because if we cannot change your situation by ceasing to exist, then it means that we're not the problem. We're not your problem. Find the real problem. What is the problem? And I think you've actually answered yourself as well, right? You said those people have found the resources. Yes, you do say that some things are free. Find the resources It's your fault that you've got we've got people that are lazy. It's called mental slothfulness, right? You are lazy to create,
Yes.
right? You want to consume instead of create. In this world, you only become rich if you create. You only become fulfilled if you create. Even if you are lacking love, you're not going to get love by being loved by others. You're going to get love by creating love within yourself. Then ultimately people will love you because you love yourself. So everything you create before it exists.
That's what I'm saying. Socialism is good on paper, but doesn't work.
Yes.
Because people who are working hard to make sure that there is engineering to build this beautiful apartment, to do all these things, they did that and they had the drive because there are incentives, right? So if you're saying that, no, it's not fair, everything must be given to everyone because they found it on earth, cool, right? Then they won't have the drive to try and innovate and invent things. Trust me, by now, we wouldn't be here.
And to also
everyone will be stuck in the olden ways and there will be problems everywhere. And just to finish, Soviet Union,
yes,
it's one example. Venezuela, it's another example. Zimbabwe, it's another example. And I can go on and on. That's where socialism has tried and is failing.
100%.
Saying that, okay, resources, we found them here, right? Cool. We're going to take you to a mountain where we know that there's oil. We tell you, Maurice, there's oil there. Build a fence and drill your oil yourself and do it yourself. And everyone around the world is given the same things. Trust me, there wouldn't be any progress in this world.
Yes.
Nah, I don't trust you on that one.
I'm telling you,
because for every problem there's for every problem there's an opportunity in disguise. And I think that the way things are tackled, the way things are going now, before we had cars, what happened? People were using horse and cart to be able to move from point A to point B.
But they were not given for free though.
No, irrespective of whether it was for free or not for free. My point is that before cars existed, there was something else, right?
Yeah.
And people came up with a solution to that problem.
Yes.
So as people, we need to work together to move the country, the world, the planets forward. Well, not the planets, but yeah, maybe we even will become interplanetary. The whole point about this matter is that there is a great imbalance. And people are being exploited. That is the point of it all.
No, listen, I don't disagree with... Yes, there are certain areas where, especially poor countries, where people are being exploited, of course, by big corporates. Congo, you know, the Congo mines with the stuff they're using in iPhone and all those kind of stuff. Yes, people are being exploited. But this is a different issue. What you said earlier on is like the oil that you are buying, fuel that you are buying. Why these people got this oil on earth, they found it here and they're selling it to us.
Okay, I think if in terms of that discussion, if we carry on it's just gonna go but
back and forth
another way, because
I
can also it is a good one, and maybe we can do it again another time.
All right.
That's just a way. Because
last thing I can say, socialism is good on paper, but doesn't work.
Yeah, in practical terms, guys, it
doesn't work.
Because also you must understand what drives value.
Right? Yeah, because if you believe in socialism, that means everyone is going to get everything for free.
Yes.
Then people won't work. Then who's going to produce the products we're using? Who's going to do all the farming? Who's going to do all this manufacturing and all those kind of stuff? If you are giving people salary to just sit at home and go buy bread, buy whatever, go home and not being productive.
Do we still have enough time?
But yeah, we'll leave it there.
This is so funny.
Thanks,
yeah, guys, it's been a very fruitful discussion, hey. But in the end, again,
nothing else matters.
Let's bring it back home. Entitlement, all of these things, right? This very socialism that he's talking about is purely entitlement. You feel that you should be paid an ordinate amount of money to sit at home and do nothing, right? And just be paid money. And to an extent now, people are even giving birth so they could get money, right?
Many children.
Yeah, grants and all those things.
And all of those things. And those things are not going to be the answer to our questions or the solutions to what we're trying to, the puzzles that we're trying to solve, right? We just have to be honest with ourselves, because the truth will set you free.
Amen.
Let's close it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.